The Vision High School Sports Beat is brought to you by the 11 locally owned Vision Automotive Group dealerships, offering Buick GMC, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Hyundai, Kia, and Nissan, and the resale division, with locations in Webster, Henrietta, Penfield, Fairport, Canandaigua, Ontario, and Palmyra, and online at visionauto.com.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Bill Pucko, and this is the Vision High School Sports Beat. Every week at this time, we take a comprehensive look at sports in Section 5 in Monroe County and begin with our honor roll of high school teams. At number 3, Monroe boys basketball. The Red Jackets upset Leadership Academy, handing the Lions yesterday our second defeat of the year. Chris Gibson and Tyquil Glasgow combined for 50 points. Monroe starts the week at 10-8. Number 2, Penfield girls basketball wrapped up the Class AA number 1 seed for the 7th time in 8 years. The victory of against Chilai and Mercy. Michaela Wilson scored 27 in that showdown win over the Monarchs. And at number 1, Fairport boys basketball rebuilding on the fly. The defending champion Raiders, who graduated all of their starters from a year ago, moved into the top spot in Class AA with a 63-48 showdown win over Rush Henrietta. Andrew Bartlett scored a game-high 23. Let's stay in Fairport, where the Raiders were in the mix for their second sectional boys bowling championship in 4 years, thanks to 6 averaging over 200 pins per game and the most productive brothers act in the section. Bowling is a fine recreational activity, but if you're serious about it, like those on the Fairport High School bowling team, it is a lot of dedication too.
A lot of them are here 5-6 days a week, and we only practice a couple days, but they're bowling youth league, they're bowling travel leagues, they're bowling tournaments on Sundays. They're in the bowling centers many days a week for about 9 months out of the year. And if they're not bowling in tournaments or leagues, they're in here practicing. I see a lot of these bowlers in here on weeknights throwing a few games just to try to take that next step and improve their game that much so that they can be much more competitive not only in high school but in all the other programs that they bowl in.
The work paid off this year. Fairport, the 2015 Section 5 boys bowling champions, won a tough Monroe County Division I title over Hilton and Rush Henrietta. Mateo Cittadino finished second in the league with a .230 average, just 2 pins behind Brighton standout Cameron Hurwitz, and rolled one of the year's 2 perfect games. In terms of improvement over the years, how's it gone for you?
Extremely well. I know last year I struggled. I was only at about 204 average, on this year I knew what I had to do for the team. It jumped up to 230 to really help out the team. And I know we've had a lot, including my brother over there, help us out. But improvement overall for myself and the team has been great.
Well, I tell you, to 20 pins is a big leap. What accounts for that?
A lot of practice and time, great coaching by both the coaches here and coaches I've had outside of Fairport. I mean, it's just been a lot of work put into it, and just it's been amazing to see what's happened.
Cittadino has plenty of backup. 5 others on his squad average 200 or better, including his younger brother, Stefano, who averages 209. How much time over the course of a week do you guys spend together on a bowling lane?
Almost every time we go bowling, we're almost together. I mean, last week we went every day. We had practice, and this week I think the only day we've had off is Wednesday, but I still went anyway. So we practice together all the time, him and I.
The two brothers offer an interesting contrast in approach. Mateo's described as laser-focused. Stefano, not so much.
Mateo, I can count on being laser-focused. He's always in the game. His head is, completely focused on making sure that he's being successful. The team's in the right place. Stefano definitely is a little bit more of an extrovert. Have to make sure that I can rein him in a little bit sometimes to get him focused, but they're both completely passionate about bowling, and that's never challenging, is getting them engaged in the game and wanting to work on the game.
8th grade was baseball, and then I realized, A, I didn't like it as much, and B, I just wasn't as good as I was baseball as bowling. So, I mean, it's been awesome.
And being good is a big part of it, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely a benefit.
The boys bowl year-round and travel the country chasing tournaments. Mateo qualified to bowl in the USBC Masters in Syracuse in April against some of the best, amateur and professional. The Cittadino brothers see a lot of each other.
Is it a matter that he doesn't like to lose to his younger brother, or that his younger brother would really like to beat him?
I do like to beat him. I'm sure he doesn't like it, and I mean, I don't like it when I lose, but we have a lot of fun together.
Yeah, how often does that happen, that you actually post a higher score?
Not very often, but sometimes when we go against each other, more often than not, he does win, like in tournaments. But in practice, sometimes I do beat him, but there has been, I think, maybe 1 or 2 times that I have beat him when we were in a tournament.
The dynamic changes after this year. Mateo graduates into a scholarship bowler at Pikesville in Kentucky, where bowling is king. Stefano will be forced to go it alone in high school for 1 more year.
Mateo and Stefano are best friends, but they really don't realize it just yet, but they will. Mateo's going to be going off to school in college, actually, he's starting, and I think Stefano's really going to feel a loss as soon as Mateo walks out the door.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. He's a senior. I mean, this is prime time for them, isn't it?
It is. It's a big moment. Mateo's had a lot of great moments this year, too. Over the summer, he won quite a few tournaments. I think it's incredible. In 1 month, he gained $1,100 in scholarship money. He's just really done really well for himself, and Stefano isn't that far behind.
Coming up, it's Sam's turn in the pool at Pitttsford, and Paul Gotham, the Pick and Splinters, joins us for the High School Notebook when the Vision High School Sports Beat continues.
How we doing? Got the usuals.
The usuals?
The usual?
You know it. Your usual.
Cream and sugar, caramel.
Large ice.
At Dunkin' Donuts, we'll make sure it's just the way you like it every time. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Bill Pucko. It is time now for our High School Notebook segment, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin', and as usual, Paul Gotham, pickandsplinters.com, joins us. Paul, what do you got on site this week?
Full coverage of the sectionals coming up. We got previews of the brackets themselves, and then we'll have previews for the quarterfinal games, the semifinals, and obviously the finals. Full-length coverage of games as well as recaps. And, of course, Matt Traybold giving his insights for Section 5 basketball, as well as Kevin Klubja with RIT and Amherst coverage.
Very cool. I'll give you a week's warning. I'm going to hit you up for predictions next week. We'll wait till we get down to the final few. But this was, it seems to me, this was a week where Fairport actually took a stand for itself.
Holding 2 teams to 50 points and 48 points, not to mention it was Bishop Kearney and Rush Henrietta. And I know everybody's looking at Kearney's record and saying, well, holding Bishop Kearney to 50 points is no big deal.
Kearney is Kearney.
Kearney is Kearney, and it was the lowest point total with Shaquille Brown in the lineup. And then holding Rush Henrietta to 48 points. Scott Fitch and that group, they're holding opponents to 52 points a game all season long. They've only allowed, oh, by the way, only allowed 1 team to score 70 or more points. That was Gates Chili, Key Slack. We got to talk about Gates Chili every show, right? So I thought I'd throw that in there. But that group, they're certainly filing in right behind last year's success and figuring out their own roles and how they're going to be successful this year.
And it's a totally new script because they graduated everybody.
And Jackson Sullivan, Andrew Bartlett, and the whole crew there. Jackson Sullivan, if you haven't had a chance to see him, a great grinder in the paint. He certainly has great post moves, but then he's a 6'5" kid who all of a sudden steps out on the three-point arc and he'll drill a three-pointer on you. And he does it. He does it with some amount of conscious about him because he's only going to take 2 or 3 a game, and he hits them when they're open.
You know, I was gonna talk about Scott a little bit, but it occurs to me as you say that, and all the guys that graduated last year from Fairport, you've got to really hand it to this group of players who's doing it this year because they essentially were not allowed to play last year. There were so many players ahead of them, and they stuck it out, you know?
And a lot of them have referred to the fact that it was great practicing against those guys and being a part of that program, and it certainly shows a lot of trust in Scott.
And character, I think.
And character. And it's great to see those kids being successful again in their own right.
Who else out there, it becomes obvious that makes, as a coach, makes his team better by just being there?
Chris Carden. The Irondequoit Eagles are the only team in Section 5 or the Greater Rochester area holding opponents under 50 points a game. Everybody should keep in mind they have 3 losses this year. They're all on the road. They lost at Canisius, a road game in Buffalo, midweek game in Buffalo. So they left school, got out of school, drove to Buffalo, and lost by a single point to one of the top teams in the state. Their other 2 losses were affected by the injury of Patrick Thomas. Patrick Thomas was injured. Next game they lost. Then he comes back after being out for a while, and 2 games later they're playing at Athena, and he's still not 100%. And they beat Wayne over the weekend, and I still don't think Patrick's 100%, and he put in a double-double in the game.
Well, Paul, thank you very much. I know this is our favorite time of season. Keep up the good work. PickensWinners.com. Paul Gotham joining us with the High School Notebook, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Coming up, we salute our Wegmans Making the Grade nominee with Kim, and later, the best swimmer is on the best team again when the Vision High School Sports Beat continues.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kim Burnson. It's time now for Making the Grade, brought to you by Wegmans. Wegmans is a proud supporter of Making the Grade, which highlights the accomplishments of Section 5 student athletes on and off the playing field.
Honored for Making the Grade this week is Livonia's Haley Pilati. Haley has been a standout track star since middle school. She's been a part of the varsity outdoor track and field team since 8th grade and has since appeared at States, the New Balance Nationals, and was a 2K steeplechase champion at the USA Junior Olympics in California. Haley was also a first-team All-Greater Rochester Runner of the Year in cross country. She became the first Section 5 female athlete to win 2 consecutive Class C titles. Her incredibly impressive work ethic not only shows on the track, but in her grades as well. She holds a 97 average in school and plans to attend Jacksonville University next fall. Livonia's Haley Pilati, this week's Making the Grade honoree.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. You can send them in to info@classywolf.com. Now here's Bill with the Section 5 calendar.
Here is the Section 5 calendar for the week ahead. It is the last week for the wrestlers who vie for state championships in Albany this weekend. Ice hockey, semifinals in 2 classes are at the Policini Center at RIT, Wednesday for Class B and Thursday in A. Boys basketball, the first 2 rounds for the Class AA tournament are Tuesday and Friday for the quarterfinals. Fairport, Rush, Henrietta, Gates, and McQuaid are among the teams to watch there. In classes A1 with Irondequoit, Athena, and the 2 Pittsfords, and A2 featuring Leadership, it's the same deal. Those games are played on Wednesday and the quarterfinals are on Saturday. On the girls' side, Penfield leads the field in Class AA. First round games are Wednesday, quarterfinals Saturday. A1 and A2 go on Tuesday and Friday. The big event locally, the Indoor Track and Field Meet of Champions. It's Friday night from 5 until 11 p.m. at RIT. The states are at Staten Island next week. Get out and see a game. That is the Section 5 calendar for the week ahead. Sam Roche is this year's primary keeper of the swim dynasty in Pitttsford when the Vision High School Sports Beat continues. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. This is the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Bill Pucko. Firstly, congrats to all the wrestling super sectional winners. There's 3 representing Hilton, 2 each from Rush, Henrietta, Spencerport, Fairport, Victor, and Penfield. Nice job. Frankie Gissendaner for the Patriots, by winning for his 6th time, was named the Outstanding Wrestler of the Meet. Now, here's our weekly honor roll of high school athletes. Number 3, Daniel Cook, Pitttsford men and boys basketball. Daniel scored 35 against Greece Athena to help knock the Trojans off the top spot in A1 in a Vikings victory and perhaps setting a sectional rubber match. Irondequoit ascends to the top spot. Number 2, the Stewie boys, the Penfield hockey team. Connor and Cody each scored a goal in the 3-2 overtime win over Fairport. Penfield used to be a Cinderella hockey story. Now the 14-4-2 Patriots are consistently good. And number 1, the Merkley boys of McQuaid hockey. James and Charles each scored twice against 2-time defending champion Pitttsford in a 6-2 win. The Knights are back in the mix at 14-3-1. As Pitttsford marches towards a 16th straight Section 5 boys swim title, it is always someone. Next swimmer up this year, it's Sam Roche. It's a pipeline that never runs dry. Matt Tanchik, Arthur Phan, the Ransford boys, Casey, Shea, and PJ, to name just a few. Pitttsford never runs out of swimmers. The Panther dynasty is born both of depth and individual excellence. This year, the star of the show is Sam Roche.
He started out his 8th grade year with us, which was basically what I call a developmental year. He swam and trained with the varsity. It has grown through year-round swimming, and then every year gets a little faster. Started out as more of a distance kid as an 8th grader, and has sort of grown into a 200, 100 freestyle or 100 backstroke. And if you look at his times, he really doesn't have many weaknesses, does a good IM as well.
Roche owns the best sectional times of the year in the 50, the 100, and the 200 freestyle, along with the 100 backstroke. He's 5th in the IM when he chooses to swim it, and anchors the school and pool record 400 relay and the soon-to-be school record 200 relay teams. It's Sam's turn at the helm, and he knows it.
I remember I watched PJ Ransford every day, swam in lane 1 right here. Coach sitting right on this bench looking at him the whole entire practice. He was doing more yards than everyone. He was working harder, in my opinion, than everyone else. So just seeing those kind of guys and like seeing Arthur working the way he does, see Casey, those guys work. It's basically you learn that attitude that's up there, you know? At board, like it shows more than just working hard. It shows like everything about you. It's like a moral character, moral code kind of. So like you kind of learn that from them, and then you kind of build on that and go your own way.
So how's it like to be one of them now? I mean, there's kids here that are probably looking at you the same way.
Yeah, so in terms of like leadership for them looking up to me, I try to just work hard every day, do the right thing in the pool, out of the pool as well. Just if they ever need anything, they can come to me. I'd love to talk about them. I'll talk to them about anything, like swimming, schoolwork, anything. It's just about being a leader and being the best you can possibly be to all the young guys in the pool.
So they're actually like 40 bucks right now.
Lucky them.
Oh yeah.
How soon do you recognize that, okay, he's special?
I don't think it's right off the bat, because I think with this sport, they can improve greatly over a year or two, especially with the year-round training. So you try to identify kids who's got some kind of talent and a desire to work, and we go from there. And we meet at the end of the year. We talk about how they did that year, their goals for next year, and how they keep building off of that.
That 16th straight sectional is a foregone conclusion. Consider that even before the start of that streak, the boys swim team at Pitttsford has been either first or second at the state meet every year since 1996. Roche and his relay mates have some unfinished business still.
The 200 relay is in play this year. We're real close. I think we went like 126 in season, and it's a 125 high up there. So we're really looking at getting after it and see if we can do it at sectionals and states.
Meanwhile, the line of succession appears increasingly secure.
We have an outstanding sophomore who's come on in the last year, Liam Murphy. He came out of nowhere last year and placed top 8 at sectionals and ran with it in the off season. Has really trained hard, and it's a second seed in the 200 free and 500 free for sectionals.
Like swimming in Pitttsford is definitely different than most other towns. There's just great coaches, great team, and like great chance for improvement. So swimming, I've been doing it since I was 6 years old, so it's just always been there, I guess.
Yeah. Were you hooked from the start?
Yeah, it was like kind of a thing. You can't quit once you start, I guess. Once I had already invested all the years into it, I just decided I want to stick with it. And I played soccer for a few years and lacrosse for a year, and then I just decided to go stay with swimming, like just that.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, especially the 11 dealerships of the Vision Automotive Group. They make the Sports Beat possible, as do you. Thanks once again for watching. We'll see you next week with the Vision High School Sports Beat.